So let's talk about how to select ETFs quickly. All right, when you're logged in, I'm just going to use Charles Schwab for an example. So when you're logged in, you'll go to this research tab. On the research tab, you're going to have all of these options at the top. Okay, so you can select mutual funds or you can select exchange traded products. Obviously, you have all of these options, but these are the two that we're focused on. Okay. So I'm going to show you how to do it with the ETFs side, and you can mirror this with mutual funds as well. Okay. So once you click on exchange traded products, this is the screen it will take you to. Okay. So you have a lot of options here. So as you click through, you'll see that Schwab has their ability to build portfolios for you. Okay, so they will build portfolios for you inside of your investment account. All right, so all you do is you choose your account. All the numbers will drop down here if you have multiple accounts, and then they will allow you to choose your preferences based on conservative to aggressive, and then they'll just build that portfolio out for you based on your initial investment. They typically ask for a few $1,000s to get this started, depending on the kind of portfolio that you want built out. Okay, so it's important to know that Schwab also offers their own ETFs. So these are specific to Schwab and how they feel about investing. So just be aware that those are biased, just like the select list here. So what this is these are ETFs that Schwab's investment advisory team has selected for you as their top favorites. Okay, so I want to assume that Schwab's advisory team is very knowledgeable. So, this is what they have deemed to be some of the top winners for them. Okay. And so you can scroll through that there. All right. Now, as you're building out your portfolio, this is probably where you're going to want to live if you're going to do this on your own. Okay, so you have two options. You can either choose something that is a balanced ETF, or you can do the same thing in a mutual fund, which let me just show you. Okay, so we're looking at only exchange traded funds. Okay, exchange traded notes. You can click here and read more about that. That's a next level kind of product. So we're going to stay away from those right now because they can be more complicated. Okay, so what we're going to do here is, now that we know what our risk tolerance is, we're able to go in here and we're able to figure out which part our ratio equates to, and we're able to choose an equity allocation based off of that. So let's say that we fell in the 90-10 range for investing and we're a very aggressive investor. Okay, so you can click this allocation, 85% plus equity. It tells you that there are two options for this. Okay, so you can actually change any of these criteria here. Okay, so the inception date, just when the account was when this fund was created. Okay, that the assets, how much does this particular ETF manage or have under its management? Of course, you can see the average volume, which has to do with the trading. And then you can choose the gross expense ratio if all of this stuff kind of matters to you. You do want to keep your gross expense ratio low. We talked about how ETFs are typically cheaper products. So it should be something under, 1%. But let's see the two matches that they have chosen for us. Okay. So these two matches, they come up with these two options for 85% plus equity, right? So they give us the gross expense ratio here. Now, what you can do is you can select these to see more of the breakdown of the actual fund. All right. So one of the most important things is we want to take a look at the portfolio itself, okay, and see where it is invested. So what we have here is this allocation of 85% plus equity. And so if you were to put your whole portfolio into this fund, because that's what these funds are for, it keeps you from having to buy a whole bunch of different investments. You can see that most of this is invested here in the US. And you can also see the other countries that it invests in by this breakdown. Okay, so then you can also see the sectors, how this fund is broken down into sectors. You can see all of that there. All right, and then you can see, remember we talked about the, size. You can see all the way from micro cap to giant cap here. Okay, so there's a lot of information that is available to you here. So how do you make sense of all of this information? And that's why it's really important for you to go back to the Excel spreadsheet that I shared with you on building out your portfolio and understanding your risk tolerance so that you can understand if this fund fits into what you're looking for, because there are a ton of options here when it comes to investing. Okay, so let's go back to our screener and say that we're going to pick a specific fund. Let's say we're going to go fill the domestic large cap part of our portfolio. Okay, so you have multiple options. All right, what we're going to do is, to make it easier, you can go with a large blend. Okay, because you have ETFs that break down into large value and into large growth. If you choose a blend, it's just going to be a blend of these two, which may make it simpler for you. Okay, so as you can see, you've got over 200 matches. If you want to narrow it down, say maybe you want to keep the expense ratio pretty low, you can see what matches come up here. Okay, so let's say we want to go from lowest to highest. We can just adjust this here, and then you can choose something that you think is fitting for your portfolio. You're able to say maybe this syntax stratified US total market works for your portfolio. So what you can do is you can take that ticker symbol, so what that's referred to, you can take that and you can literally put it in here and you can compare it. Okay, so you'll just drop that there, click compare. So as you can see, compare to similar products, and you'll have a full comparison of what the software brings up as relatable. Okay, so what you'll want to look for here is the total number of holdings. As you can see here, you'll want to see what's actually in this portfolio. So this is an investment that holds that company's other investments, which is a little bit different. You may be looking for something more like this, which is holding, Apple, Dillard's. You can see their top holdings here. All right, you can also see the sector weighting, so then you can figure out if you're comfortable with where these investments are. Credit rating, this will appear when you're looking at bonds. And then again, your market caps breaks down your regions, breaks down your top 5 countries. Okay, so there's a lot of information here. But again, when you're trying to make sense of this, that's why it's really important that you refer back to your portfolio sheet. Okay, that's a really good starting place for you. This can confuse a lot of people. And so one company that is recommended amongst all financial advisors is pretty much Vanguard. So not this particular investment, but a lot of people are comfortable with Vanguard investments since they created the index fund. Okay, so I hope that this is helpful. Feel free to drop any questions that you have. Thank you.